Welcome back, U.S. history students. I hope everyone is doing well. Before we continue with our materials for Unit 2, the Revolutionary Era, I want to remind you that marking period 2 has begun. Okay, Classwork 1 was posted on Tuesday, and this is classwork number 2 for marking period 2. So if you have fallen behind, all right, start making up classwork 1 so that way we are on a good path for the rest of marking period 2. Also, just a heads up, the rest of the material, the rest of the content for Revolutionary Era Unit 2, we'll be covering today and tomorrow. So Thursday and Friday will be the final days of content. And then next week we will have an assortment of assessments. So we'll have a short multiple choice quiz, and then we'll also have another part 2 writing prompt. Okay, so that's where we are going in the next 2 weeks. To get us going today, let's look at the aim and do now. So our aim for today, how can we summarize the purpose and reasoning found within the Declaration of Independence? Okay, so we're going to be trying to figure out 2 things when we read through excerpts of the Declaration of Independence today. First, we're going to be trying to identify what is the purpose. What is this document trying to do? The second thing we're going to try to do is identify the reasoning. All right, what are the reasons behind this document? Okay, what is fueling the main purpose? Okay, so we're really trying to connect those ideas of purpose and reasoning today, and we're going to be looking at the Declaration of Independence to do that. All right, our do now. We're looking at a question that's referring back to classwork 1 from marking period 2. So it says, what was the main idea of Thomas Paine's common sense? How did it change colonial perspectives in regards to independence? Remember, when we're talking about perspectives, all we're talking about is views. All right, so the first thing you're doing is talking about what the main idea of common sense was. Then the second thing is, how is it changing colonists' views? So when colonists sit down and read or hear about Thomas Paine's common sense, how does their perspective, how do their views actually change? How do they shift? And common sense is a major factor in what we will be talking about today. Okay, so you can pause the video, you can get some ideas down on your document for the do now, and then we'll meet at the fast facts. Okay, so the fast facts for today. All right, the Declaration of Independence was adopted by the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia on July 4th, 1776. This is why we celebrate July 4th up to this day in the United States. It is when the Declaration of Independence is adopted by the colonists. All right, so this document announced that the 13 American colonies were at war with the Kingdom of Great Britain, and they regarded themselves as independent. Okay, so once again, titles in U.S. history tell us a lot. This title tells us that the colonists are declaring their independence. Okay, so once again, titles tell us a lot in U.S. history. The Declaration of Independence is no different. This document is very, very famous for its structure, okay? And the document has 5 different sections. Preamble or introduction, the colonists' statement of human rights, their charges against human rights, charges against the king and parliament, and then a statement of separation. And we're going to be looking at a couple of excerpts from these different sections. And the Declaration of Independence is highly regarded not only for its writing and its description of views on government, but also this famous structure. Okay, The creators of the Declaration of Independence were influenced by Enlightenment thinkers and incorporated many of their concepts. A lot of the ideas we see in the Declaration of Independence were borrowed. Okay, the colonists who write the Declaration of Independence do not come up with everything on their own. They borrow a lot of ideas from Enlightenment thinkers, specifically in regards to their views on government. And one of the major Enlightenment ideas that's borrowed is this idea of natural rights, and that the government gains its power from the people, which is known as consent of the governed. Okay, so you'll see a lot of references to natural rights in the Declaration of Independence, and you'll also see a lot of references to the government gaining its power from the people and the government operating on the behalf of the people. So when we look at this unit, okay, I like to reference like it's almost like a mountain, okay? And everything we've been doing up to this point, I'm not a great drawer, I apologize, has been going up the mountain, all right? And what has been happening as we've been seeing an increase in tension. So it starts with the Proclamation 1763. Then we get taxation. Then we got the Boston Massacre. We've got common sense. And eventually, we hit this tipping point right at the peak of the mountain. All right, there's an increase in tension, and then we're going to hit this tipping point where things boil over. And really, the Declaration of Independence is that tipping point. Okay, and we'll see why it is a major tipping point in this relationship between the colonists and the British. So to start, I'm going to transition back to our document now. And you'll see that we are looking at various sections. So the first section is this preamble. Okay, and what you have are questions on the right-hand side and then text on the left-hand side. Okay, so as always, I recommend you guys read the questions first. All right, if you need to, create sentence starters second. Then we're actually going to go to the text third, underline information that helps you answer it, then plug in your answer fourth, okay? And these are document analysis steps that we have been using continually. Just because you're getting more comfortable with reading documents, responding to them, I highly encourage you to keep using these steps because it's going to give you continual focus when you are reading source material. Okay, so the first section's covering aspects of the preamble or the introduction. Then on the second page, you'll see that we're also going to be looking at the grievances or the charges against the king, and then the statement of separation. So those are the three sections of the Declaration of Independence we're going to be looking at. Remember, use your steps. Read questions first. All right, sentence starter. Then go to the text third. 4, we're actually plugging in the answer. Okay, so you're going to be using the text to help you out to respond to these analysis questions, and then we're going to be using all of this information to complete the summary task that is found on the last page. So it says summary task, instructions, complete the task below in a paragraph. Okay, and one of the things that we have struggled with is turning task bullet questions into narrative or kind of storytelling responses. Okay, so what I want us to work on is creating a topic sentence first. So based on these bullets, we have described the historical context that led to the creation of the Declaration of Independence. So what is causing the Declaration of Independence? And then how does the Declaration of Independence impact the relationship between the colonists and the British? How does this potentially impact the power dynamic worldwide? So when we create a topic sentence, try to think about a kind of overarching topic that addresses these questions. So one topic could be the aspect of the British control the colonies, tensions grow as this relationship develops. All right. And what we can then go into, once we kind of have a topic sentence, is we can go into task bullet 1 response. So then we want to include information that answers task bullet 1. So what are those causes that lead to the Declaration of Independence? So the causes, and these are things that we've covered in recent days. Okay, identify those causes. Then we want to talk about how does this lead to the Declaration. Okay, then we want to go to task bullet 2 response. Okay, how does the Declaration of Independence impact the relationship between the colonists and British? What is this doing to the relationship between these two groups? This is where you want to bring in some document information. The second bullet is a great spot for some doc information. Once again, we want to summarize, don't just quote. Okay, so this is going to give us a little bit more of a structure to tell a story. It shouldn't just be a listing of answers. We want to try to tell a story that incorporates and responds to these task bullets. So if you have any questions or concerns, please message me on the Google Doc, or you can send me an email. I do have live instruction today, which is Thursday, and tomorrow, which is Friday, so we will not be having our Zoom office hours. But if you have any questions or need some extra support, reach out to me and I'll make some time to help you out. All right, I hope everyone is having a great day, and I will talk with you soon.